They laughed at the tattoo, until the Alpha King recognized her and everyone froze. The cold wind swept through the northern pack's stone hall, rattling the torches that lined the high walls. Shadows danced across the faces of nobles, warriors, and elders gathered to witness the day's unusual event. Whispers curled like smoke in the air, carrying judgments before words could even form. At the center of the hall, a young woman stepped forward, her eyes steady despite the weight of dozens of staring gazes. Her name was Erin, and she bore a tattoo across her collarbone, partially hidden beneath her cloak, a faded, intricate mark no one recognized. "Look at her," a young warrior whispered to his friend, smirking. "She doesn't even carry herself like someone of worth." Another scoffed. "And that tattoo, what a foolish thing to wear so proudly. Any child could draw that." Laughter echoed across the hall, sharp and cutting, and Erin's cheeks burned with a mixture of anger and unease. She had expected mockery. She had spent her life hiding the truth of her mark, the story it carried, the history etched in her very skin. No one had known, not even the villagers who raised her, and perhaps that had been a mercy. Her tattoo was no ordinary design. It was ancient, a symbol whispered about in forbidden tales, long erased from memory. It pulsed faintly beneath her skin, reacting to the rising moon, a secret heartbeat that only she and a few long-lost legends could feel. The hall grew louder as the elders leaned forward, their faces tight with curiosity. The Alpha King, Kael'thar, had not yet spoken. He sat upon his throne at the far end of the hall, tall and imposing, his cloak of dark fur flowing like liquid shadow around him. His silver hair gleamed in the torchlight, but it was his eyes, sharp as winter ice, that silenced even the boldest tongues. The laughter stopped abruptly when he lifted a hand. Silence fell like a heavy curtain. "Step closer," Kael'thar said, his voice low, steady, but carrying a weight that made the ground feel colder. Erin stepped forward, her heart thundering in her chest. Every eye in the hall followed her, studying her like a creature out of myth. She felt exposed, but something stronger than fear surged within her. The tattoo itched beneath her skin, as though sensing that someone who understood it had finally noticed. Kael'thar's gaze fell upon the mark and something unspoken passed over his face, a shock, a recognition, and a long-buried sorrow. He leaned forward, resting his hands on the carved arms of his throne. The hall seemed to shrink around him, the laughter vanishing entirely. Even the guards, usually stoic and unwavering, shifted uncomfortably. "This," he said, pointing to the tattoo, "is no mere decoration." His voice shook slightly, though he made no effort to hide it. How do you bear this?" Erin's throat went dry. She had never expected to meet anyone who could recognize it. I do not know," she said honestly. "I was told it is from my mother, but she disappeared before I could ask." Kael'thar's eyes softened, yet the sharp edge of command remained. "This mark, it belongs to the line of the Moonbound Queen." A whisper ran through the hall and Erin froze. "Moonbound Queen? The Moonbound Queen," someone murmured. "But she vanished centuries ago. Her bloodline was erased in war." "Yes," Kael'thar said, his voice steadying. "And yet it lives in you." The hall was silent, save for the echo of the torches. Every face was frozen, their previous mockery replaced with awe, fear, and disbelief. Even the elders who had ruled through centuries could not hide the tremor in their hands. Erin's mind spun. Centuries ago, bloodlines erased, legends of queens and kings, of curses and wars. She had only ever known her village, the people who took her in, the whispers of her mother's mysterious past. And now, in a stone hall filled with strangers, she was being told she carried the last remnant of a line that everyone thought lost. Kael'thar rose from his throne, the dark fur of his cloak sweeping the floor like a shadow stretching across the hall. He did not approach her, yet his presence alone filled the space between them. "You bear a power you do not yet understand," he said, "and a responsibility, one that many have tried to destroy, and yet here you are." Erin trembled. I never asked for this." I do not even know what it means." Kael'thar's eyes softened for a brief moment, revealing something almost human beneath the mask of the Alpha King, a flicker of recognition, of grief, and of longing. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "it is not you who chose this, but it chose you. And now the world will notice. It already has." The whispering began again, louder this time, as courtiers, warriors, and elders turned to one another, exchanging terrified glances. Erin felt every pair of eyes burning into her skin. Some looked at her with hope, some with suspicion, others with fear. And then the moment shattered completely. Kael'thar spoke her name. Erin. The single word was not a question. It was a declaration. Every head in the hall turned toward her. Every heart seemed to still. Even the wind outside paused as if it sensed the weight of that name. She froze. How did he know her name? How could he know? "You," Kael'thar's voice caught slightly. He stepped closer, his boots echoing against the stone floor. "You are not meant to be here, not now, not alive." The hall's silence was absolute. Erin's pulse raced, but she did not move. She could feel the tattoo beneath her cloak, warmth spreading from it, as if awakening. She wanted to ask what he meant, but the words lodged in her throat. She began, and then paused. Fear gripped her, not for herself, but for the truth she might awaken by speaking it aloud. "I do not know why I am here. I only know this mark is mine." Kael'thar studied her, his eyes narrowing. For a moment he seemed almost a man again, not a king, not an alpha, but someone who had lost much and found something impossible to recognize. "You carry the mark of a line the world has tried to bury, and yet it survived. In you." The crowd shifted uncomfortably, sensing the tension rising. Some whispered prayers, others held their breath. Erin felt a pull in her chest, something old and deep. Memories, or perhaps something else, stirred in her mind. Dreams of moonlit nights, of voices calling her name in a language she did not know, of a power she had never claimed. Kael'thar stepped forward, closer than anyone had dared approach. His presence was immense, almost overwhelming, yet she did not feel threatened. She felt seen. "Do you understand what this means?" he asked, his voice low, almost a whisper meant only for her. "I know," Erin admitted. "I only know it has always been inside me. And that I am afraid." Kael'thar's face softened, a shadow of a smile brushing his lips. "You need not be afraid, not of me, but you must be cautious. They will not all greet you as I have. Some will seek to destroy you, and some will seek to use you." Erin's breath hitched. "Use me for what?" Kael'thar's eyes darkened, stormy and unreadable. "For power, for revenge, for the things they cannot control. And yet you have survived. That alone makes you stronger than you know." The crowd's murmur grew again, but this time it was different. They no longer laughed. They watched, tense, uncertain. Erin felt the weight of every gaze, every whisper pressing down on her. And then, before she could respond, Kael'thar made a decision. He extended a hand, not as a king commanding, but as a man offering guidance. "Come with me," he said. "If you are willing, I will teach you. I will protect you. And together, we will uncover the truth of this mark." Erin hesitated, glancing back at the crowd, at the hall that had mocked her mere moments ago. The laughter, the whispers, they were gone, replaced by silence that was heavy with expectation. And yet something deep inside her stirred, a spark of courage, of hope, of curiosity. She took a step forward, and then another, until she placed her hand in his. The hall held its breath. The torches flickered. Outside, the wind howled like a warning, but inside, something far older, far greater stirred awake. Erin looked up at Kael'thar, and for the first time in her life, she felt truly seen. The tattoo burned faintly beneath her skin, alive, whispering secrets she did not yet understand. And then Kael'thar spoke, his voice echoing like a prophecy. "The world has forgotten this line, but it will remember again, starting with you." For a moment, the hall was frozen. Everyone watched, everyone waited, as the first chapter of a long-forgotten story began again. One that could change the fate of kings, queens, and every soul who dwelled in the shadow of the moon. Cliffhanger. And in the flickering shadows of the hall, eyes unseen by mortal gaze watched her, whispering one chilling word. The moonbound queen. The stone corridors of the Alpha King's keep were quiet, save for the echo of Aaron's footsteps and the soft rustle of Kael'thar's cloak behind. Sorry. Torchlight flickered along the walls, casting long shadows that seemed to twist and shift like living creatures. For the first time in her life, Erin felt like she belonged somewhere, not to her village, not to her past, but here, where the weight of history pressed against the walls and the air hummed with power. Kael'thar walked ahead, his figure tall and commanding. His voice when he spoke was low and steady, yet every word carried a gravity that made her pause. "You must understand," he said, "what you carry is not just a mark, it is a legacy, a line erased by fear, war, and betrayal, and yet you survived." Erin swallowed hard, her fingers brushing lightly over the tattoo peeking from beneath her cloak. "Why me?" she asked. "Why am I here? Why did I survive when everyone else did?" Kael'thar stopped and turned, his silver eyes catching the torchlight like shards of ice. "Because you were meant to," he said simply. "You were hidden for a reason. The world is not ready for your bloodline to rise again, but the world will notice soon enough." Her heart skipped a beat. The weight of his words settled over her like a heavy mantle. Bloodline. "You mean my family," he nodded. "The moonbound queen. She ruled before the Great War, before the line of kings and alphas destroyed what they feared. Your mother, she was the last hope to preserve that line." Erin felt a chill, a strange mixture of fear and awe. Her mother had never spoken of her family's history, only whispered words that made no sense to a child. And now, Kael'thar spoke as if he knew every secret, every sorrow, every story lost to time. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why me of all people?" Kael'thar's gaze softened. "Because I have seen it before," he said. "I have known your kind, though I thought it was gone forever. And because the mark you bear, it is not just a symbol, it is a key. And the wrong people will do anything to take it from you." Erin's stomach twisted. "Take it, but what is it? What does it unlock?" Kael'thar's face grew solemn. "Power, protection. A bond between the moon and those who are bound to it. It is a curse and a blessing. And you are its last heir." Erin's fingers tightened on her cloak. The words were almost too much to grasp. Power, curse, heir. She had spent her life believing she was ordinary, a girl with nothing but a strange mark and a past she did not understand. And now she was something more, something dangerous. They walked deeper into the keep until they reached a room lined with ancient tapestries, the threads faded but still glowing with the magic of old spells. The air smelled of old stone, incense, and something else, something alive, something waiting. Kael'thar gestured toward a chair. "Sit. There is much you need to understand and little time to learn it." Erin sat cautiously, her eyes never leaving him. He moved to stand by the window, looking out over the dark forest beyond the walls. Moonlight spilled into the room, painting the floor in silver and shadow. "The moonbound queen," Kael'thar began, "was more than a ruler. She was a protector, a guardian of a power that the world feared. When the other kings rose, they destroyed her family, her people, everything she loved. And yet some survived. And now that survivor is you." Erin's pulse quickened. "But I'm just me. I'm not a queen. I'm not a guardian. I barely know how to live in this world." Kael'thar's expression softened, a rare vulnerability showing through. "Strength does not come from knowing how to live," he said quietly. "It comes from surviving, from enduring. You have survived when no one else could. That alone makes you stronger than you realize." The silence between them was thick, filled with unspoken thoughts. Erin felt something pull at her heart, a mixture of fear and curiosity, a longing she could not name. Kael'thar's presence was overwhelming but not frightening. There was an honesty in his gaze, a depth of pain and understanding that made her feel safe, somehow, despite the weight of the truth he carried. "You do not understand the danger you are in," Kael'thar said suddenly, his voice tense. There are those who will come for you, some for the power of your bloodline, some for revenge, and there are those who will try to use you even against your will. Aaron shivered. Then why are you helping me? You don't owe me anything. You barely know me. He turned to face her, his silver eyes sharp and intense. Because I recognize you. Because I see the same fire in you that I saw long ago, before all the wars, before the betrayals. And because I cannot let the world destroy you, not when you are the last of your line. Erin looked down at her hands, feeling the weight of his words settle over her. She had never known anyone who spoke to her like that, who saw her as more than a girl with a strange mark. And yet, there was a truth in his voice that resonated deep within her. For a long moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the wind outside and the faint pulse of the tattoo beneath her skin. It felt alive, almost like it was responding to Kael'thar's presence, vibrating with a warmth she had never felt before. Finally, Kael'thar spoke again. "There is something you must know, something your mother never told you. That mark, it is not only a symbol of your heritage. It is a seal, a protection against a darkness that was bound to your family. If it is removed or broken, the consequences would be catastrophic." Aaron's breath caught. A darkness? What kind of darkness? Kael'thar's eyes darkened, stormy and unreadable. An ancient force, older than any kingdom, one that your family held at bay for generations. It is why the moonbound queen was hunted. It is why your bloodline was destroyed. And now, it stirs again. The words sank into Aaron like a cold stone. Her heart raced, and she could feel the tattoo pulsing faster, as if echoing Kael'thar's warning. The weight of her heritage, of her destiny, pressed down on her, almost too heavy to bear. "Why me?" she whispered again, tears threatening her eyes. "Why did I survive if it was meant to be destroyed?" Kael'thar stepped closer, placing a hand lightly on her shoulder. His touch was firm, grounding, and somehow reassuring. Because fate does not always follow the path of destruction. Sometimes it chooses the one who can endure, the one who can rise from the ashes. You are that one, Aaron. You always were. Aaron looked up at him, seeing not just the Alpha King, not just the ruler of the Northern Pack, but a man who had known loss, pain, and responsibility beyond measure. And in his gaze, she saw something unexpected: hope. "But I'm not ready," she said softly. "I don't know how to do any of this. I'm just a girl with a tattoo." Kael'thar's lips curved into the faintest smile, almost a shadow. "None of us are ever ready," he said. "But that does not mean we do not try. And you will learn. I will teach you. But first you must trust me." Aaron's pulse quickened. Trust was not something she gave easily. She had been abandoned, lied to, and forgotten. Yet there was something in Kael'thar's presence, something ancient and undeniable that made her want to believe. She nodded slowly. "I'll try," she said. I'll try." Kael'thar's eyes softened, a rare warmth touching the edges of his expression. "Good, that is all I ask for now. Tomorrow we begin. You will see the truth of your mark and the power you carry. And perhaps you will understand why the world feared your bloodline." Aaron nodded again, her mind a whirlwind of fear, curiosity, and something else she could not name, something like longing. As she was led to her room in the keep, the torches casting long shadows along the walls, she could not shake the feeling that the world had shifted in a single day. The laughter of the hall, the mockery, the disbelief, it all seemed distant now, like a memory of someone else's life. And yet, the pulse of the tattoo against her skin reminded her that danger, power, and destiny were very real, and they were coming for her. She lay on the narrow bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the wind whisper through the stone walls. Kael'thar's words echoed in her mind. "You are stronger than you know, and the world will notice soon enough." For the first time, she wondered if she could survive the truth. Cliffhanger. The voice of the past whispered in the darkness. The moonbound queen has returned. The night had fallen thick over the northern keep. Moonlight streamed through the high windows, painting the corridors in silver and shadow. Aaron could not sleep. She lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the wind sigh against the stone walls. Every word Kael'thar had spoken echoed in her mind: the bloodline, the curse, the ancient darkness, and the responsibility she had never asked for. The tattoo burned faintly beneath her skin. It pulsed like a heartbeat, soft and steady, yet insistent. Erin traced it lightly with her fingers, feeling a warmth spread up her arm and across her chest. She had never felt anything like it before. It was as if the mark itself was alive, calling to her, trying to awaken something she had long forgotten. She rose from the bed and walked to the window, gazing at the forest that stretched into darkness beyond the keep. Shadows moved among the trees. Wolves, perhaps, or something older, something hidden in the folds of the night. Her pulse quickened. Something about the forest felt alive tonight, as though it knew her secret, as though it waited for her. A knock at the door startled her. Kael'thar stepped in, silent as a shadow, his cloak brushing the floor behind him. His silver eyes caught the moonlight, glowing like ice. "You're awake," he said, his voice low but steady. "I expected you might be." Erin nodded, unsure what to say. She had not expected comfort or guidance tonight, only restless thoughts and unease. I can't stop thinking about what you said," she admitted. "The darkness, the curse, the danger. Why does it feel like it's already here?" Kael'thar closed the door behind him and moved closer. "Because it is," he said simply. "The darkness is never far from those who bear the moonbound bloodline. It stirs when the bloodline awakens. And now that you are here, awake to it, it has begun to sense you. It watches. It waits." Erin's stomach twisted. "Then what do I do? How do I stop it?" Kael'thar reached for her hand, brushing her fingers lightly with his own. "You do not stop it alone," he said. "That is why I am here, and why you must learn. Tomorrow I will teach you how to control it, how to understand the power you carry. But tonight you must rest. The darkness feeds on fear." Erin looked down at their hands. His touch was warm, grounding, and a strange comfort settled over her. She had never felt anything like it before, this mix of fear and trust, of caution and longing. And yet she wanted to believe him, to rely on him, even as uncertainty clawed at her. She nodded slowly. "I will try," she whispered. Kael'thar gave a small nod and released her hand. "Good. Sleep now if you can. Tomorrow begins the first lesson." He left the room silently, and Erin sank back onto her bed, the moonlight spilling across her skin. The tattoo pulsed more insistently now, as if responding to the presence that had just left. The next day, the keep was alive with movement. Guards patrolled the corridors, courtiers whispered in the halls, and the air thrummed with anticipation. Kael'thar met Erin in the training room, a large chamber lined with weapons, mirrors, and ancient tapestries depicting battles long past. "You must learn to control the power within you," he said. "Not all of it is physical, but it is strength nonetheless. The tattoo marks you as the heir of a line that could command kingdoms and protect realms, but with it comes danger. You must be ready." Erin nodded, her hands trembling slightly. "How do I begin?" Kael'thar stepped closer, his eyes studying her carefully. "First, you must understand it, feel it. Do not resist. Let it guide you." He gestured for her to place her hand over the tattoo. Erin hesitated but obeyed. The warmth beneath her skin surged instantly, spreading like fire through her chest. She gasped and pulled back slightly, but Kael'thar's hand steadied hers. "Breathe," he said softly. "Do not fight it. Let it flow through you." Erin closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. The warmth spread, gentle now, like a tide rising and falling. She felt something stir within her, memories perhaps, or visions she did not understand. Faces she had never seen, voices whispering her name. And then, the forest outside the keep appeared in her mind. Shadows moving through the trees, something watching, waiting. Kael'thar's voice cut through the images. "It is trying to reach you. The darkness is old, patient. You must not fear it. You must learn to command it." Erin opened her eyes, and for the first time she felt a strange connection to the power within her. Not fear, not confusion, but a sense of belonging. She was not just a girl with a mark. She was a guardian of something ancient, something powerful. Kael'thar studied her closely. Good, that is the first step. Control begins with understanding. Hours passed, and Kael'thar guided Erin through exercises designed to awaken her senses, to feel the pulse of the world around her, to connect with the ancient magic within. She learned to sense the wolves beyond the keep, the shifting shadows of the forest, and the faint tremors of the earth beneath the stone walls. Every discovery left her both exhilarated and exhausted. By the evening, Erin's legs were sore, her mind buzzing with new knowledge. She stood in the training room, watching the moonlight spill across the floor. The tattoo on her collarbone glowed faintly, and she felt a strange energy coursing through her veins. "You have done well today," Kael'thar said, his voice breaking the silence. "You are stronger than you realize, but strength alone will not protect you. You must also trust yourself and trust me." Erin turned to him, her eyes wide. "Trust you? How can I when everything I've known has been lies?" Kael'thar stepped closer, his gaze intense. "Because I am not your enemy. I will not lie to you, not about this, not about the danger, and I will not leave you to face it alone." Erin's heart pounded. His words were simple, yet they carried weight. She wanted to believe him, she wanted to trust him. And for reasons she could not explain, she felt drawn to him, not as a king, not as an alpha, but as someone who understood the fire within her. The moment stretched between them, heavy and electric, until a sudden noise shattered it. The keep's doors banged open, and a group of cloaked figures slipped silently into the room. Shadows moved with unnatural speed, and Erin's senses screamed at her to react. Kael'thar's eyes narrowed, and in an instant he was between her and the intruders. "They have come," he said, his voice a low growl. "The darkness is waking." The figures moved forward, and Erin felt the tattoo burn brighter than ever. Energy surged through her, hot and alive, and for the first time she did not feel afraid. She raised her hands instinctively, and a shield of silver light flared around her, shimmering and strong. The intruders stopped, startled, unable to move through the barrier. Kael'thar's eyes widened in surprise, but he quickly recovered. "You did that?" he asked. Erin nodded, her chest heaving. I think so. I felt it inside me." One of the figures spoke, their voice cold and commanding. "The moonbound queen rises again. We will not fail." Erin's pulse quickened. The words were a threat, a promise of danger to come. She looked at Kael'thar, who nodded once firmly. "Then we fight," he said. "Together." The intruders vanished as quickly as they had appeared, leaving behind a chill in the air. The room fell silent again, save for the ragged breathing of Erin and Kael'thar. Erin sank to the floor, overwhelmed. This is real," she whispered. "The danger, it's real." Kael'thar knelt beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Yes," he said softly, "but so are you, and so is your strength. Never forget that. You are not alone in this." Erin looked up at him, meeting his silver gaze. For the first time she felt a spark of hope amidst the fear. The darkness was coming, the danger was real, and yet she was not powerless. Not while Kael'thar was by her side. The moonlight spilled across them, silver and bright, as if the night itself acknowledged the awakening of the moonbound bloodline. And somewhere in the shadows beyond the keep, eyes watched, waiting, whispering words of anticipation. "The air has awakened, and so has the power of the moon." Cliffhanger. And in the distance, beyond the forest, a figure cloaked in shadow paused, eyes glowing faintly, whispering to the wind. "Soon she will belong to us." The moon hung high and full over the northern keep, bathing the stone walls in silver light. The forest beyond stirred, shadows twisting and shifting as if alive. Erin stood on the balcony of the inner keep, her cloak fluttering in the night wind. Her chest ached with anticipation and fear. Tonight would decide everything. The darkness she had felt since childhood, the danger Kael'thar had warned her about, was coming to claim its place, or to be driven back forever. Kael'thar emerged from the hall behind her, silent as ever. His eyes, silver in the moonlight, were fixed on the forest below. He carried himself with the weight of a king, but also with something more, a man who had waited centuries for a chance to right the wrongs of the past. "You are ready," he said, his voice low but steady. "The mark will guide you, but you must trust yourself and me." Erin nodded. Her fingers brushed the tattoo along her collarbone, feeling the pulse beneath her skin. It burned brighter than ever, alive, whispering secrets she had only begun to understand. She had trained for weeks, learning to sense the world around her, to control the energy within her. And now the moment had come to face the darkness head-on. "I trust you," she said softly, though a tremor ran through her voice. I will do this." Kael'thar nodded. "Then follow me." They moved through the corridors, the torches casting flickering shadows on the walls. Outside, the wind howled through the trees. The wolves of the northern pack gathered silently, their eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. Something deep in the forest stirred, a presence older than time itself, ancient and patient, and it sensed Erin. When they reached the central courtyard, the sight took Erin's breath away. A circle of shadowed figures had formed, their cloaks fluttering in the wind, eyes glowing with anticipation. They were the remnants of the forces that had hunted her bloodline for centuries, drawn now by the awakening of the moonbound power. Kael'thar stepped forward, placing himself in front of her. "You will not face them alone," he said, his voice carrying through the night. "But you must show them who you are. Let the mark guide you." Erin felt the energy surge beneath her skin. The tattoo glowed, silver threads spreading across her collarbone and down her arms. She lifted her hands instinctively, and a wave of warmth radiated outward, pushing the shadows back. The intruders faltered, sensing the power that had awakened in her. "You are the last of the moonbound line," Kael'thar's voice rang out, clear and commanding. "And we will not allow your bloodline to be destroyed." The leader of the shadowed figures stepped forward, his cloak dark as midnight. "You have awakened, child," he said, his voice cold and mocking. "But power alone will not save you. The darkness is patient. It will claim you as it claimed your ancestors." Erin's heart raced, but she stood taller, feeling the tattoo surge with energy. She could sense the world around her, the forest, the wolves, the air itself vibrating with magic. She felt Kael'thar beside her, steady and unwavering, and that gave her courage. "I am not afraid," she said, her voice steadying. "I am the moonbound heir. I will not be destroyed." The figure laughed, but it was hollow. "Then we shall see." Erin focused, closing her eyes briefly. The tattoo pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, a living thing, a guide, a key. She felt the energy of the moon, the pulse of the earth, and the presence of Kael'thar beside her. And for the first time, she did not feel fear. She felt power, control, and purpose. When she opened her eyes, silver light erupted from her tattoo, spreading outward like a wave. The shadows recoiled, unable to move through it. The ground trembled beneath them, and the wind whipped the cloaks of the intruders. Erin lifted her hands, and the light coalesced into a protective barrier that shimmered and brightened with every heartbeat. Kael'thar's eyes widened in awe, but he quickly composed himself. "Good," he said. "Hold it, do not let them break through." The leader of the shadows hissed, raising his hands. Dark energy surged toward Erin, twisting and writhing like a living thing, but she stood firm. The tattoo flared, brighter than ever, and the darkness faltered, recoiling from her light. Erin felt something stir deep within her, a memory, a voice, a presence she could not name. It whispered to her, guiding her, lending strength. She realized it was not only the tattoo that gave her power, but the bloodline itself. The moonbound lineage flowed through her, ancient and unbroken. "You cannot win," the shadowed figure spat. "This power, it is not yours to command." "It is mine," Erin said, her voice rising with authority. "It has been mine all along, and I will protect it. I will protect this world." The energy from the tattoo surged outward in a blinding wave. The shadows screamed, their forms unraveling in the light. The The courtyard shook and the wolves howled in response, their eyes glowing like stars. Kael'thar stepped beside her, placing his hand lightly on her shoulder. "Do not falter," he whispered. "You are stronger than you know." Erin drew a deep breath, and then the light from her tattoo concentrated into a single beam, shooting upward into the sky. The shadows shattered completely, leaving nothing but silence in their wake. The forest beyond seemed to exhale, and the wolves circled closer, calm and protective. For a moment the world was still. The danger had passed, at least for now. The energy beneath her skin began to settle, leaving a warmth that was comforting and steady. She looked at Kael'thar, her heart racing, and saw pride and relief in his eyes. "You did it," he said softly, his hand brushing hers. "You faced the darkness and did not falter." Erin's knees nearly gave way, and she sank to the ground, exhausted but triumphant. I did not do it alone," she said. "You were there, and the bloodline had helped me." Kael'thar knelt beside her, his silver eyes softening. "Yes," he said, "but it was your courage, your strength that guided it. You are the moonbound heir, never forget that." For the first time, Erin felt a sense of belonging she had never known. She was not just a girl with a mysterious tattoo. She was a guardian, a queen in her own right, and she had survived the night. The moonlight bathed the courtyard, silver and serene, and for a moment everything felt perfect. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying a sense of peace and renewal. Erin felt the pulse of her tattoo slow, steady and calm, as if acknowledging her victory. Kael'thar helped her to her feet, his hands steady and strong. Their eyes met, and in that gaze unspoken words passed between them, gratitude, understanding, and something more. Something neither had dared to name until now, but both felt. "You are incredible," Kael'thar said softly, "not just for the power you command, but for the courage you carry. You have faced what others would flee from." Erin felt warmth bloom in her chest. "And you believed in me, even when I didn't, even when I was scared." Kael'thar smiled faintly, the first real smile she had seen on him. "I always knew you could do this, because I know who you are, and I know what you are meant to become." The night stretched around them, quiet and full of possibilities. The darkness had been confronted, but it would not vanish entirely. Erin knew there would be more challenges, more threats, more lessons. But for the first time she felt ready. She looked at her tattoo, now glowing faintly in the moonlight. It was no longer just a mark of mystery or danger. It was a symbol of her strength, her lineage, and her destiny. She was the last of the moonbound line, and she would protect it, no matter the cost. Kael'thar stepped closer, and without a word took her hand in his. Their fingers intertwined, and a quiet understanding passed between them. They were allies, protectors, and something more, a bond forged in fire, shadow, and moonlight. "You are not alone," Kael'thar said softly. "Not now, not ever." Erin squeezed his hand, feeling a surge of warmth and courage. "Then we face whatever comes together," she said. The moon shone brighter, as if blessing their words. The forest beyond the keep was quiet, the wolves calm, and the night serene. But in the distance, where shadows lingered, something moved, watching, waiting. The danger had passed for now, but the world of magic, power, and destiny was far from finished. And for the first time, Erin felt ready for it.